The first key point we need to explore is the breaking point of traditional forecasting. Your document explains that most traditional methods, like ARIMA or exponential smoothing, rely on past sales data. They assume that past patterns will repeat. But as the document states, history is no longer a reliable guide. Think about sudden pandemics, new tariffs, or viral videos about products. These events have no precedent in your old data, so models see them too late, or not at all. This is like trying to drive a car forward by only looking in the rearview mirror. It's dangerous with unexpected curves. Another big challenge the document highlights is unstructured data. This is information like news articles about port delays, social media posts about new trends, or weather alerts. These are human language, not neat spreadsheets. These sources often give the earliest signals of change, but traditional forecasting systems can't read or understand this. It's like having scouts reporting in a language no one at headquarters can translate. So, valuable information gets lost, leading to incomplete decisions. Inaccurate forecasts have real consequences, as your document points out. They impact operations daily. When we get it wrong, we face stockouts, meaning not enough product, lost sales, and unhappy customers. Or we have overstocks, which means too much product, tying up cash, and wasting warehouse space. This leads to high costs like expedited shipping or deep discounts. It also strains relationships with suppliers. These issues directly affect a company's profit and reputation. Finding a better way isn't just a technical exercise, it's a business necessity. Now, let's talk about generative AI. It's not just another algorithm. Traditional AI is good at finding patterns in numbers, like predicting a sales number. Think of it as a powerful calculator. But generative AI is different. It's designed to understand and create content, like human language and ideas. As the document puts it, if traditional AI is the calculator, generative AI is like a smart research assistant who can read, summarize, and even brainstorm with you. It can read thousands of articles, understand their main points, and summarize them. This is a game changer for processing that unstructured data we just discussed. The technology behind generative AI is often called a large language model, or LLM. You don't need to know all the technical details, but it's trained vast amounts of internet data, books, and reports. This teaches it to understand language, context, and how ideas relate. This means it can read a news article about a port strike in Asia and understand it might impact electronic shipments to Europe. It connects these dots at a massive scale, like a human expert would. This ability opens up three main ways generative AI can help your supply chain forecasting. Here are the three key areas we'll dive into. First, generative AI can read and understand real-time information from many sources, helping you sense demand changes faster. We will cover this in our next lesson. Second, it can create realistic what-if stories, letting you simulate disruptions and test response plans. We'll also cover this in the next lesson. And third, it can generate new believable data when you don't have enough, which is great for new products. We will explore this in Lesson 3. This technology provides practical solutions, helping your company's profitability and reputation. Let's recap what we've covered in this first lesson. We talked about how traditional forecasting struggles with today's volatile markets and unstructured data. We learned about the real business costs of inaccurate forecasts, like stockouts and overstocks. Then we demystified generative AI, seeing it as a smart research assistant that understands language and context, unlike traditional number crunching AI. We also previewed the three main ways generative AI can transform supply chain forecasting. These include real-time demand sensing, disruption simulation, and synthetic data generation. This is about augmenting your expertise, not replacing it. Welcome back. In our previous lesson, we covered why traditional forecasting struggles and what generative AI is at its core. Now we're exploring its first two practical applications: seeing the future sooner with advanced demand sensing and simulating supply chain disruptions with what-if scenarios. These tools help you move from being reactive to proactive, building a more resilient supply chain. Let's dive into how generative AI makes this possible. Let's start with demand sensing. Traditionally, you might use point-of-sale data, but that's a lagging indicator. Generative AI allows you to listen to the market in real time. It monitors thousands of sources like local news, social media, and industry blogs. It sifts through the noise to find relevant signals for your products. This means spotting early warnings and opportunities before they show up in your sales reports. It's about being proactive, not reactive. Generative AI doesn't just count keywords, it understands context and sentiment. For example, it might detect a growing number of online conversations about a new diet trend and identify key ingredients. If your products use those, it can flag a potential demand surge and even pinpoint regions with the most interest. This turns a vague trend into an actionable insight. Your document shares an example of a CPG company launching a new flavored seltzer. Generative AI analyzed social media and influencer posts to find which flavors had the most buzz in different cities. This allowed the company to adjust its initial distribution, sending spicy pineapple to Austin and Miami and cucumber mint to the West Coast, avoiding costly stockouts and overstocks from day one. Next, let's explore how generative AI helps with simulating supply chain disruptions. Most companies do risk planning, but it's often static. It's a spreadsheet with risks and general plans. This doesn't show you how a specific event would unfold daily. Generative AI allows for dynamic simulation. Instead of just risk of a port strike, you can ask the AI to generate a detailed, narrative-based scenario. For example, a 3-week labor strike begins at the port of Singapore, impacting your critical shipping lanes and components. This makes the risk real and allows for much more effective planning. To do this, you provide the AI with a basic map of your supply chain: suppliers, routes, factories, warehouses. The generative AI combines this with its vast knowledge of world events, logistics, and economics. When you give it a scenario, it simulates how that event would ripple through your network. This lets you test responses in a safe, virtual environment, showing vulnerabilities before a real crisis hits. An automotive supplier used generative AI to simulate a key factory in Mexico shutting down for 2 weeks due to a hurricane. The AI showed which parts would have shortfalls and even suggested alternative suppliers. This turned a vague risk into a manageable scenario with a playbook ready. Let's recap what we've covered in this lesson. We explored how generative AI enables advanced demand sensing by analyzing real-time, unstructured data from thousands of sources, giving you early warnings and opportunities. We saw how it turns raw data into actionable insights through contextual understanding, like the CPG company example. Then we discussed its power in simulating what-if scenarios for supply chain disruptions, allowing you to test contingency plans and build resilience. This dynamic simulation moves beyond static risk assessments, as shown with the automotive supplier. These are powerful tools for proactive supply chain management. Welcome back for our final lesson in this series on generative AI in supply chain forecasting. Today, we're going to cover another powerful application: solving the data gap with synthetic data. Then we'll give you a clear, actionable roadmap to start using generative AI in your own organization. Finally, we'll recap everything, reinforcing the idea that this technology is here to augment your expertise, not replace it. Let's start with how generative AI can create data when you don't have enough history. There are many times you need to forecast without good historical data. How do you predict sales for a brand new product? Or plan for a new store in a city where you've never operated? Traditional models struggle because they need past data to learn. You're often left with guesswork, using averages of similar products, which is often inaccurate. This is the data gap problem. Generative AI solves this by creating artificial datasets that look and act just like real data. It analyzes patterns and relationships in your existing data, then generates new, realistic sales data based on specific parameters like demographics or product price. This gives your forecasting models something solid to learn from. A great example is a fashion retailer opening its first store in a new city. Without local sales history, using simple averages from other stores would ignore the new market's unique characteristics. The document shows how they used a generative AI model to create a synthetic one-year sales dataset for the new store. The model analyzed sales from 10 similar stores, but adjusted for the new city's demographics and climate. This synthetic data gave a much more nuanced forecast, predicting weekly sales patterns by product category and leading to a more successful launch with tailored initial stocking and staffing plans. Now let's look at your roadmap to getting started. This is a practical, low-risk path. Step 1. Start with a specific problem, not the technology. Don't look for a problem to fit the solution. Is there a product line with constant stockouts or a struggle predicting promotion impacts? Pick one clear business problem for your pilot project. Starting small helps you learn and show value quickly. Step 2. Assess your data readiness. You don't need perfect data, just know what you have. Ask, do we have 1 to 2 years of historical sales data for this product? Can we access related data like promotions or pricing? Is it reasonably organized? And who understands this data best? Step 3. Explore tools and ask the right questions. You don't need to build from scratch. Many software providers are integrating these capabilities. When talking to vendors, focus on your business problem. Ask, can I see a demo similar to my problem? How does it connect to my existing systems? What support is provided? Can we start with a small, low-cost pilot? Step 4. Run a pilot and measure the results. A good pilot is simple and easy to measure. For example, reforecast demand for one product category for the last quarter. You know the actual sales, so you can compare the new forecast against your old method. But don't just measure accuracy. Did the new tool identify a disruption you missed? Did it save your planning team time? Proving value is more than just a percentage point improvement. It's about making the entire process smarter and more resilient. This initial test builds your business case. Your first move. Open your calendar right now and schedule a 30-minute meeting with your best demand planner. The topic, our single biggest forecasting headache. That's where you start. In conclusion, forecasting is tough and traditional tools are struggling. Generative AI is not about replacing old methods, but enhancing them. It brings new abilities to listen, simulate, and prepare. We've seen its practical uses: advanced demand sensing, disruption simulation, and creating synthetic data. Remember, the goal of this technology is not to replace your expertise, it's to augment it. Generative AI acts as a powerful assistant, handling data overload so you can focus on strategy. Your next step isn't a giant leap. It's taking that first small step we outlined. Identify one problem, check your data, and start a conversation. That's how you begin the journey to smarter, more resilient forecasting.